Hello and welcome to the Understudy. My name is Philippa, and this is the channel where we discuss everything musical theater related. This is a video for me to practice this test by myself, but it is a good tool for anyone to use. I'm really happy that you're here with me. If you've followed me through this journey, it shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, I recommend getting some sheet paper to write on because or if you of course have the book with you, but I've made some alterations just so I have the entire thing because some tracks online are different and some whatever. Yeah, that being said, let us start. We have section A, part A, and there's some directions here that say section 1, part A. Nice. Sorry. Directions. Each of the question or incomplete statements is followed by 4 suggested answers. Select the best answer. So questions 1 to 6 ask you to identify pitch, interval, melodic patterns, or triads that are played. In each question, I will show you it. I will read the question. I will play if there is an oral section, which is in this part A. And then I will give you 5 seconds, but you can always pause. You can always go back and listen to it as many times as you want. These examples throughout all have their assigned like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. But I think it's most important that we learn. And so listen to it how many times you want. And if you have questions, post them in the comments. That being said, I think we should start with the very first question. So question 1, which of the following pitch patterns is played? And here we have the answer. Correct answer is D. This pattern would be the last 3 pitches in the B harmonic minor scale with the interval of an augmented second between the G and the A sharp. When possible, look at patterns holistically instead of note to note. Question 2. Which of the following pitch patterns is played? And here we have the answer. Correct answer is B. These are all scale patterns. Answer A is major, B is Phrygian, C is Dorian, and D is Lydian. The A Phrygian scale with lowered scale degree 2 from minor was what was played. Question 3. Which of the following pitch patterns is played? Correct answer is C. Holistically, this pattern is a minor triad with a minor seventh. Question 4. Which of the following intervals is played? Correct answer is C. The interval played is A to F. It is a minor sixth. Question 5. Which of the following triads is played? Correct answer is D. Remember to use your time wisely. Determine during the silence between the questions the quality of each triad. Answer A is A minor triad, B is major, C is also major, but in second inversion, and D is diminished in first inversion. If after the first listening you can determine that the example is not a major triad, you have eliminated 2 answers. Question 6. Which of the following pitch patterns is played? And here is the answer. Correct answer is B. When looking at each pattern, it should be discernible that every answer should be in the tonality of G. While answers B and D are in G minor, answer C is in major, and A could really be both. Answer A, C, and D begin with so-do relationship, a perfect fourth, while answer B begins with so-re, a perfect fifth. What was played was B, so, re, fa, me, do. Question 7 and 8 ask you to identify rhythm as it is performed within a melody. So, which of the following rhythms is played? Correct answer is D. When answering rhythm questions, look at the beginnings and endings and compare. By recognizing that the opening rhythm is not two equal eighth notes, you immediately eliminate two answers. Remember to always listen for something. Question 8. Which of the following rhythms is played? Correct answer is C. In this set of answers, what is similar is the endings. Answers C and D have the same ending. However, the beginning pattern C of Z is correct. Question 9 to 13 are based on an excerpt from a Mozart piano sonata arranged for solo clarinet. Let's read through the questions and then listen to it. Question 9. The accompaniment in this excerpt can best be described as A. Counter melody, B. Alberti bass, C. Contrary motion to the melody, or D. All tonic harmony. Question 10. The ornamentation used by the melody, the soloist, is A. Suspension, B. Trill, C. Turn, or D. Tremolo. Question 11. At the end of the second phrase, the rhythm in the melody demonstrates A. Syncopation, B. Hemiola, C. Diminution, or D. Augmentation. Question 12. The third phrase begins A. With new material, B. As a literal repetition of the first phrase, C. With the same melody as the first phrase in the relative minor, or D. With the same melody as the first phrase in the parallel minor. And question 13. This excerpt ends with A. Phrygian half cadence, B. Plagal cadence, C. Picardy third, or D. Deceptive cadence in minor. Now let's listen to the example. Go back and listen to it as many times as you need. And here we have the correct answers. Let's go through them. Question 9, correct answer is B. The piano accompaniment is playing an Alberti bass figure, which means it is arpeggiated chord usually using in scale degrees 1, 5, 3, 5 repeatedly. Question 10, correct answer is C. The ornamentation is a turn. It consists of four slurred notes that are the main note, the note above the main tone, the note below the main tone, and finally back to the main tone again. Question 11, correct answer is A. The second phrase ends with syncopation on both beats 1 and 2 in simple quadruple meter. Question 12, correct answer is D. This is the same melody, but it is not a literal repetition because the mode changes from B flat major to B flat minor, the parallel minor. In question 13, the excerpt ends with a Picardy third, meaning the final harmony is a major tonic, raising the third of the chord. This is an example of mode mixture. Question 14 to 19 are based on an excerpt that has two segments from a work representing the Romantic period. Let's read through the questions 14 to 13, which is the first segment. Question 14. What is the meter? A. Simple quadruple. B. Compound triple. C. Simple triple. Or D. Simple duple. 15. How do you describe the texture of the first segment? A. Chordal homophony. B. Primarily melody with accompaniment. C. Heterophonic. Or D. Polyphonic. 16. Which of the following performance considerations is featured in this segment? A. Moderato tempo. B. Guitarist dynamics. C. Poco stringendo. Or D. Arco and pizzicato. Question 17. Relative to the opening tonic, the first segments end in what key? A. Tonic. B. Subdominant. C. Mediant. Or D. Dominant. Now let us listen to the first segment. And here are the answers. Question 14. Correct answer is C. The meter has 3 beats per measure, triple. Each beat is divided into 2 parts, simple. Question 15. The correct answer is B. The texture is primarily melody with accompaniment with some areas of monophony. Question 16. Correct answer is D. This segment features the strings playing arco with the bow and pizzicato, which is plucked. And question 17. Correct answer is D. The key shifts to the dominant. The pizzicato melody ends with 5 to 1, a fifth above the original tonic. Try to sing at least 2 notes, or the last 2 notes, and retain the new do in your head when the original melody repeats. Note that the original tonic is lower by a perfect fifth. So this pertains to the same excerpt, but a second section. So let's read through them and then listen to the entire excerpt. Question 18. In the second segment, the melodic material features what compositional devices? A. Melodic sequence and imitation. B. Melodic inversion and imitation. C. Melodic variation. Or D. Melodic augmentation and imitation. Question 19. When the original melody returns, it is the same in all the following ways except A. Texture, B. Mode, C. Articulation, or D. Tempo. Now let's listen to the entire thing. And here we have the answers. Question 18, correct answer is A. The second segment features melodic sequence and imitation as one section plays pizzicato in the descending line, followed by a legato imitation of the same melody, and then the same pattern slightly lower sequence, played by pizzicato and imitated legato. Question 19, correct answer is B. The melody returns in major. This is a change of mode. Questions 20 to 25 are based on a piano piece in 2 sections, an introduction in 2 parts, and a second section containing 4 phrases. Let's first look at question 20 to 22. Question 20. The correct notation of the opening 4 measures of the introduction is A, B, C, or D. Question 21. The statement that best describes the first 4 measures of the introduction is A, a right-hand melody with left-hand accompaniment, B, a single melody featuring a melodic sequence, C, a syncopated melody played in unison octaves, or D, a single fragmented melody with harmonized line a third below. And question 22, the second part of the introduction following the pause is different from the first part in all of the following ways except A, dynamic, B, texture, C, mode, or D, rhythm. Now let us listen to the first part. And here we have the correct answers. Question 20, correct answer is B. This is the correct notation. Question 21, correct answer is C. The melody is monophonic, unison in two octaves, and is syncopated. Question 22, correct answer is C. The second part of the introduction is different from the first in dynamic, texture, and rhythm. Both parts are in E flat major. Here we have the same piece of music, different section. Question 23 and 24. Question 23. The second section contains four phrases. What occurs at the end of the second phrase? A. A deceptive cadence. B. The melody is partial descending minor scale. C. The melody becomes unison octaves. Or D. Both B and C. Question 24. Which statement is not true when describing the second section? A. The first and third phrase are the same. B. The second phrase begins an octave higher. C. The fourth phrase begins with a piano and crescendos to a fortissimo. Or D. The fourth phrase ends with a perfect authentic cadence in the key of the dominant. Let's listen to the music. And here we have the correct answers. 23, correct answer is D. The second phrase of this section ends in a single melodic line in unison octaves and a descending minor scale pattern that ends on C. That would be the relative minor of the original key of E flat major. And correct answer for 24 is B. The second phrase actually begins an octave lower than the first phrase, not an octave higher. The last note of the first phrase is the first note of the second phrase and continues to descend down into the bass clef. Now, let's go through the last question of this music section. Question 25. The entire excerpt can be described as containing all of the following except A. A rhythmic motive, B. Texture that is entirely melody with accompaniment, C. Significant dynamic contrasts, including the use of sforzando with a fortissimo, SFF, or D. Consistent use of staccatos and accents. Let's listen. Correct answer is B. What is not described as excerpt is the texture is entirely with melody accompaniment. The first part of the intro is monophonic, as is the end of the second phrase in the second section. It does have a consistent rhythmic motive, use of staccatos and accents, as well as dynamic range from pianissimo to fortissimo. Question 26 to 29 are based on a musical example that will be played 4 times. The score is printed correctly right here. However, you will hear something that has several errors in either pitch or rhythm. The questions ask you to identify those errors. Let's read through them. Question 26. In measure 1, there is an error in the rhythm in the treble staff, pitch in the bass staff, rhythm in both the treble and the bass staff, or pitch in both the treble and the bass staff. Question 27. In measure 3, there is an error in rhythm in the treble staff, pitch in the bass staff, both rhythm and pitch in the treble staff, or both rhythm and pitch in the bass staff. Question 28. In measure 4, there is an error in the rhythm in the treble staff, rhythm in the bass staff, pitch in the treble staff, or pitch in the bass staff. And question 29. In measure 7, there is an error in the rhythm in both treble and bass staff, pitch in both treble and bass staff, both rhythm and pitch in the treble staff, or both pitch and rhythm in the bass staff. Now let's listen to the excerpt. And here are the answers. Let's go through them. Question 26. Correct answer is C. There is a rhythm mistake in both the treble staff and the bass staff. What was played was three even quarter notes in the bass staff, and the dotted quarter and eighth note rhythm was played in the treble staff. Question 27, correct answer is also C. The eighth note rhythm was on beat 1 instead of beat 2, and pitch was also slightly different. Correct answer for 28 is D. Pitch is different in the bass line. An ascending pattern beginning with a minor third was played instead of a descending major third followed by an ascending perfect fourth. And question 29, correct answer was also D. What was written was an ascending major scale pattern leading up to B flat, which includes parallel perfect octaves created going into measure 8. What was played was an oblique motion in the bass, staying on F and avoiding avoiding the parallelism. Question 30 to 32 are based on a short excerpt from a contemporary piano solo. Let's read through the questions and then listen to it. Question 30. Following the introduction, the opening melodic pattern contains which four scale degrees? Is it A, 6, 5, 2, 1, B, 8, 5, 3, 1, C, 8, 7, 6, 5, or D, 5, 4, 2, 1? Question 31. Taking into consideration that all of the phrases are 2 measures long, what is the time signature? Is it A, B, C, or D? So is it 3/4, 4/4, 6/8, or 12/8? And question 32, what is the compositional technique is used in the excerpt? Is it A, a change of meter, B, retrograde, C, fragmentation, or D, diminution? Now let's listen to the music. Here we have the correct answers. Question 30, correct answer is A. The opening melodic pattern is 6, 5, 2, 1. Question 31, correct answer is D. Each phrase has 2 measures, then there are 4 beats per measure. This is compound meter, therefore the time signature is 12/8. And question 32, this composition uses retrograde. This means it is the reverse of the previous line. Question 33 to 38 are based on an excerpt in 2 segments of a Celtic reel. The first segment includes 4 phrases, and the second segment also includes 4 phrases. Let's read through questions 33 to 35. 33. In the opening melody, what is the prominent rhythmic motive? Is it A, B, C, or D? 34. On what interval above the first instrument does the second instrument enter? Is it A, the fourth, B, the sixth, C, the fifth, or D, the third? And question 35, which of the following best describes the texture after the entrance of the third instrument? Is it A, imitative polyphony, B, melody with accompaniment, C, homophonic, or D, monophonic? Now let's listen to the first segment. And here we have the correct answers. Correct answer for 33 is A. This is their prominent rhythmic motive. Question 35, correct answer is D. When the second violin enters, he plays a third above the first violin. And question 35, correct answer is B. When the piano enters, the texture is melody with accompaniment. Same music. Let's move on to this next section. So, question 36. Compared to the first phrase, the second phrase of this section features A, an exact repetition, B, a change of tessitura, C, a harmonization of the original melody, or D, a shift of the modality. In question 37, the third and fourth phrases feature A, imitative polyphony, B, a melodic inversion, C, a sequential repetition, or D, an added rhythmic accompaniment. Let's listen.
Will now be played.
And here we have the correct answers. Question 36, correct answer is C. The second phrase of the second section harmonizes the original melody with the melody heard in the first phrase. And question 37, correct answer is D. The third and the fourth phrases are different because the drum enters and plays a rhythmic accompaniment. Let's read the last question of this section, or this music. Question 38. The form of this excerpt can best be identified as ABBA, AABA, AABC, or ABCB. Let's listen to the music a final time. And here we have the correct answer, D. The form of this piece is ABCB. The B sections are the same, except the final B section is performed an octave higher and with rhythmic accompaniment. Remember that timbre, texture, range, or the addition of the drum rhythm does not change the melodic content. Question 39 to 43 are based on an excerpt from an aria in an opera by Handel. Let's read through the questions. Question 39. In this meter, the half notes gets the beat. What is the time signature? Is it A, a la breve, B, 2-2, C, 9-4, or D, 3-2? Question 40. The melody begins on what scale degree? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? Question 41. The tempo marking that implies to this excerpt is A, largo, B, andante, C, allegro, or B, mastioso. Question 42. The harmonic progression for the excerpt for both phrases is A, B, C, or D. And question 43. The non-chord tone at the final cadence is A, upper neighbor, B, escape tone, C, suspension, or D, anticipation. And here we have the correct answers. Correct answer for 39 is D. This excerpt is in simple triple meter. This time signature is 3-2. A la breve and 2-2 are the same. 2 beats per measure and the half note gets the beat. The signature 9-4 represents compound triple meter. Question 40, correct answer is C. The melody begins on scale degree 3, Mi. Question 41, correct answer is A. The tempo marking that applies to this excerpt is largo, meaning very slow, broadly dignified. In question 42, correct answer is A. Listen for the bass line in the harmonic progression question. The bass line implies the Roman numeral. Listen for the cadence or cadences. Both cadences are authentic. That eliminates answers B and C. The bass line ending the last two measures is fa, so, so, do. That eliminates answer D. Question 43, correct answer is D. The non-chord tone at the ending cadence is an anticipation. There is also a non-chord tone at the first phrase cadence. It is a suspension. Here is the soprano and bass line from this aria. There you have a picture here. I'm not going to show it to you. Let's move on to section 1, part B. This is no oral accompaniment or anything contributing, just the questions in and of itself. Question 44. What pitch is subdominant in the relative major of F sharp minor? Is it B, C sharp, D, or D sharp? Correct answer is D, the option C. First, you have to know what key is the relative major of F sharp minor. It is A major. The subdominant is the fourth scale degree, or D, natural. Question 45. All of the following are diminished fifths except A, B, C, or D. Correct answer is D. The interval of B sharp to F is doubly diminished. The interval of B to F is diminished, so by adding a sharp to the lower pitch, you are making the interval even smaller. Question 46. Which of the following is a supertonic diminished seventh chord in C sharp minor? Is it A, B, C, or D? Correct answer is C. The key of C sharp minor has four sharps: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. The supertonic seventh chord, half diminished, chord is spelled as D sharp, F sharp, A, C sharp. It is the diminished triad and the minor seventh. Question 47. Which of the following scales represent the Phrygian mode? Correct answer is D. The Phrygian mode lowers the second scale from the natural minor, or in this case adds one flat to the key signature. Question 48. The durational value that represents the beat in the time signature 6-4 is A quarter note, B dotted quarter note, C dotted half note, or D half note. Correct answer is C. The time signature 6-4 is compound duple meter. Any time signature with 6 at the top number has 2 beats per measure. Therefore, the dotted half note gets the beat. The time signature 6-4 represents the subdivision of the beat, or the equivalent of 6 quarter notes per measure. Question 49. In what key would this chord function as the first inversion dominant seventh chord over the supertonic? Is it the B flat major, F minor, E flat major, or F major? Correct answer is C, E flat major. So what do we know for sure? We know that the chord is C, E natural, G, B flat, and functions at the secondary dominant of a temporary tonic key. If C is dominant, the tonic is F, and therefore the temporary tonic is F minor. The chord symbol 5/2 tells us that the F minor is our supertonic in the original key. If S is the supertonic, then the tonic is an E flat major. Question 50. If the raised submedian pitch is C sharp, the key signature is A, B, C, or D? Correct answer is D. Raised submediant only occurs in the melodic form of minor. The C sharp is a scale degree 6. Then 7 is also raised, the D sharp, and tonic is E. The key signature of E minor is 1 sharp. Question 51 and 53 are based on this melody. So, 51. Which of the following meter signatures best fits for this melody? Is it 6/8, 9/8, 6/4, or 2/4? Correct answer is C. The meter is compound duple and the time meter signature is 6/4. 52. The melody contains all the following except A secondary dominant, B melodic minor pattern, C natural minor pattern, or D rhythmic augmentation. Correct answer is D. Augmentation is not used in this excerpt. Melodic minor is identified in the last measure. A secondary dominant is implied in the A sharp fee leading to the B. So, question 53. What cadence would harmonize the half note in measure 2? A imperfect authentic, B plagal, C half, or D deceptive. Correct answer is D. The E natural could be harmonized with the tonic or a submediant. That would mean the perfect authentic cadence because the root of the chord do is doubled in the soprano or deceptive cadence. Since perfect authentic cadence is not a choice, the answer is deceptive. Questions 54 to 57 are based on the following four-part harmonic example. There are 4 errors in this example that do not adhere to strict 18th century guidelines for doubling, spacing, or voice leading. Choose the answers that best describes the error in the indicated chords. Question 54. The error at chord 4 is A. Overlapping voices, B. An incorrect chord spelling, C. An unresolved chordal 7th, or D. An error in spacing. Correct answer is B. The chord at the symbol is a raised fourth, is the supertonic half seventh diminished chord in first inversion. In the key of E minor, that would be F sharp A C E with the A in the bass. There is no seventh E. Question 55. The error between chords 6 and 7 is A. Unequal fifths, B. An unresolved chordal seventh, C. Crossed voices, or D. An improperly resolved leading tone. Correct answer is D. The leading tone in E minor is D sharp. Especially if it is in an outside voice, the leading tone should always resolve to the tonic. Question 56. The error between chords 7 and 8 is A. An error in spacing that is the result of parallel fifths, B. Parallel octaves, C. Oblique motion, or D. An incorrect chord member. Correct answer is B. There are parallel octaves between the soprano and the bass. Question 57. The error between chords 11 and 12 is A. Crossed voices, B. Parallel fifths, C. Unresolved chordal seventh, or D. An improperly resolved leading tone. Correct answer is B. There are parallel fifths between the bass and tenor in the last 2 chords. To avoid this, remember that the cadence when a dominant seventh goes to the tonic in root position, the dominant seventh should have all 4 members, and if you correctly observe the resolutions, the tonic chord will contain 3 roots and 1/3, no fifth. Question 58. Which term indicates the general range of a melody or voice part that presents the most characteristic timbre? A. Obligato, B. Tremolo, C. Tessitura, or D. Melisma? Correct answer is C. Tessitura is the most acceptable and comfortable vocal range, less frequently instrumental range, which provides the performer with the best sounding or characteristic timbre. Question 59. The non-chord tone in this example is A. A retardation, B. An appoggiatura, C. A 4-3 suspension, or D. An escape tone. Correct answer is B. An appoggiatura occurs when you lead upward from the preparation chord to the note that is not part of the chord, and resolve downward by step to the chord tone. An appoggiatura is always on the beat. The B natural in the melody is the appoggiatura. Question 60 to 63 accompany the following excerpt of a string quartet. Question 60. The key of the excerpt is best identified as C major, B flat major, G minor, or F major. Correct answer is D. The tonality of this excerpt is F major. Here's a perfect example to reinforce that you must look at the music and not just the key signature or the title. Key is always confirmed by cadence. E natural is present throughout, and there is a perfect authentic cadence on the downbeat of measure 98. Question 61. What chord occurs on the downbeat of measure 101? Is it a dominant seventh, a dominant, a supertonic seventh, or a leading tone, or a leading tone seventh diminished fully? Correct answer is A. The chord at measure 101 is a dominant seventh. The cello plays C, viola G, and violin 2 has B flat, the seventh of the chord, and violin 1 has the third. So C, E, G, B flat. Question 62. Which of the following figures prominently throughout the excerpt? A. Arpeggiation, B. Use of suspension, C. Secondary dominant chords, or D. Syncopation. Correct answer is A. Note of a triad or seventh chord played one after another, arpeggio, are present in nearly every measure in at least one voice. Question 63. The cadence in measure 105 to 106 signals a shift to the key of the A dominant, B relative minor, C parallel minor, or D subdominant. Correct answer is C. The cadence in measure 105 to 106 is a dominant seventh to a tonic, shifting the tonality to the parallel minor where the tonic triad F, A sharp, C. Questions 64 to 68 accompany Schubert's 36 original dances number 33. Question 64. Which of the following best represents the harmonic rhythm of measures 5 to 8? Is it A, B, C, or D? Correct answer is D. The harmonic rhythm is one chord per measure in 5 and 6, two chords in measure 7 with a harmony changing on beat 3, and back to one harmony per measure in 8. Question 65. Measures 14 to 24 show a temporary shift into what key? Is it A flat major, E flat major, F minor, or D flat major? Correct answer is A. The temporary shifts to A flat major. Question 66. The cadence in measure 15 to 16 can best be described as A. Half cadence, B. Plagal cadence, C. Perfect authentic cadence, or D. Imperfect authentic cadence. Correct answer is C. The cadence at 16 is a perfect authentic cadence in the key of A flat major. Question 67. The D in the upper voice on beat 3 of both measures 1 and 2 is best described as A. An accented passing tone, B. An unaccented passing tone, C. An accented upper neighbor tone, or D. A chord tone. Correct answer is C. The D in the upper voice occurs several times in this motive, measures 1, 5, and 9, and is an upper neighbor. It is accented because it is on the beat, not because it has an accent articulation. Question 68. The two phrases of this excerpt, measure 1 and 8, are identified as A repeated period, B contrasting period, C parallel period, or D modulating period. Correct answer is C. The first two phrases, measures 1 to 8, create a parallel period. The second two phrases, measures 9 to 16, create a modulating parallel period. The first phrase in F major and the second phrase in A flat major. Questions 69 to 71 are based on a short excerpt of Salve Regina by Couperin. 69. The meter and the key of this excerpt is A simple triple in B flat major, B compound triple in G minor, C simple triple in C minor, or D compound triple in C minor. Correct answer is C. The meter is simple triple. The key of this excerpt is C minor. The key signature may suggest a B flat major or G minor, but the analysis is clearly C minor because the figure base indicates B natural and the cadence confirms the tonality of C. Question 70. The accidental represented by the altered figures within the figured base is F sharp, A flat, A natural, or B natural. Correct answer is D, B natural. The altered figures in this excerpt are B natural. Make sure you are correctly identifying the pitches in alto clef. Question 71. The circled notes in the first two measures would be considered A. Suspension, B. Retardation, C. Anticipation, or D. Lower neighbor tones. Correct answer is C. The small notes, grace notes, are anticipations arriving early on the new harmony. Questions 72 to 75 are based on this excerpt of Nun kom der Heiden Heiland by J.S. Bach. Question 72. The chord marked 1 can best be identified as A. Supertonic, B. Dominant, C. Dominant 7th, or D. Leading tone 7th. Correct answer is C. This chord, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and E, is the dominant 7th chord in B minor. Question 73. The two chords in box B can best be identified as A. A plagal cadence in D major, B. An authentic cadence in G major, C. A deceptive cadence in B minor, or a 5/5 to the submediant in B minor. Correct answer is B. This is an authentic cadence in G major. The final chord in this phrase is G major, G, B, D, preceded by the D, F sharp, A, C natural, the dominant 7th chord in G. The red flag is a C natural, diatonic to G but not to B minor. Question 74. The Roman numeral analysis of the three chords in box B would be A, B, C, or D. Correct answer is D. The progression is a supertonic fully diminished in first inversion to the dominant to the tonic in B minor. The C sharp, E to G, to the F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, to B, D, F sharp. Question 75. The final chord of this excerpt can be described as all the following except as A. Borrowed from the relative minor, B. An example of a mode mixture, C. Containing a Picardy third, or D. A major tonic. Correct answer is A. The final chord is major tonic borrowed from the parallel major, not the relative. It is considered mode mixture and raised third is called Picardy. Let's move on to section 2, part A. The directions say answers question 1 to 7. And I recommend using some staff paper and making notes of everything that you need before and then listening to the example. So, questions 1 and 2. On the staff provided for each question, notate the best of your ability the correct pitch and rhythm of a short melody you will hear. Make sure that any accidentals are appropriate to the key signature that has been provided. In each case, the pulse will be provided before the first melody is played. So, question 1, I will play it, you will listen, and then you can listen to it however many times you want. Let us start. And here we have the answer. So what you heard and what was seen by the trumpet player is different because the trumpet is a transposing instrument. The trumpet plays an F sharp minor to sound an E minor up a major second. So measure one begins the way many minor melodies begin, by going down a half step to the leading tone. Remember that when notating in minor, the leading tone requires an accidental, in this case D sharp. Measure 2, the difficulty level increases with both the 16 notes on beat 1 and the dotted quarter note pattern on beat 3. Measure 2 and 3, the area between the brackets in the melodic form minor of the scale from low so to mi. The example ends with re up to so and do. Question 2. This will also, you will listen to this however many times you want. There are no rests in the melody. Let's go. And here we have the answer. You can see the si, la solfege syllables written, as well as so, mi, so, fa, re, ti, do. Measures 1 and 2, this example is in compound duple meter, begins with the tonic arpeggio. The second beat contains a chromatic note, G sharp leading to A, si, la. Then back to the tonic triad. The G natural is a courtesy accidental and is not required because it is in a new measure and ending on re. That would imply a half cadence with the next two 16th notes leading into the second phrase. And measure 3 and 4. Measure 3 leaps from so up to do. The second beat contains only 2 pitches and a repeated note. You may find the backdoor approach helpful for this phrase. Identify the ending pattern as re, ti, do, then work backwards from the so, mi pattern. Question 3 and 4. For the next 2 questions, you will hear a 4-part harmonic progression. In both examples, the progression, I will play them and then you will listen however many times you want. For each question, you are to notate only the bass and soprano on the staff. Do not write the alto and tenor. And on the lines underneath, you are to write the Roman numeral chord symbols, including the Arabic numbers for any appropriate inversions. So before listening and before doing that, write down everything that you see here, look at the staff, and notice that there are 9 chords in the progression with the first one provided for you. Now, let's listen to the harmonic progression for question 3. And here we have the answer. This is in B flat major. The example begins with a pedal in the bass, then continues with an ascending bass line and concludes with a deceptive cadence. This is a very conjunct bass line that features oblique and contrary motions between the bass and the soprano. Let's move on to question 4. And before listening, look at the staff, write down anything that you need, fill in only the soprano, bass, and the chord symbols, including appropriate inversions for the remaining 8 chords. Let us listen. And here we have the answer in E minor. Did you remember to write the leading tone D sharp in big letters as a reminder before you started? Notice that it is used in the melody and requires the accidental. The progression is a little more challenging and requires hearing the perfect fourth, the do, fa, and the bass between the first 2 chords. Also remember that whenever you hear the leading tone, 2 things must register in your brain. One, the leading tone is only in the dominant and the seventh or the leading tone triads. And 2, the leading tone is an outside voice, must always resolve upward to do. The bass line descends in stepwise motion using te and not ti as it moves past do. At the same time, there is a chromatic pattern in the melody me, mi, fa that signals a raised third scale degree leading to fa. This example ends with a plagal cadence. Here we have question 5. You are to realize the figured bass below in 4 voices, following traditional 18th century voice leading procedures. So continue in the same fashion from the spacing of the first chord, which is given to you here, and then in the space below each chord, fill in the appropriate Roman numeral chord inversions and symbol. Yeah, take your time. I will give you 5 seconds, but you can pause and do it however you want. There's no oral prompt for this. Here is a possible solution. There are possible variables in the solution of this figured bass exercise. What is not a variable is the correct chord analysis, which leads you to correct chord members. Start with that and correct information, and you are well on your way to success. A deceptive chord progression in measure 1 should lead you to double the third in the submediant chord to avoid parallelism. The secondary dominant is a dominant 7th and 3rd inversion of the subdominant 1st inversion. The temporary tonic is in A minor, the subdominant, and its dominant is E, G sharp, B, D. The figured bass shows a raised fourth above the bass, D, which is the G sharp. There is a half cadence at the end of the sharp sign under the final chord indicate to raise the note a third above the bass to the D sharp, the leading tone. This is an example of a Phrygian half cadence. Be careful when the last 2 chords not to double the third, C, and resolve it to the D sharp. That would create a augmented second interval in voice leading, nor to double the third C and resolve it to B. That would create parallel octaves between the soprano and the bass. A secondary function 7th chord always includes an accidental. Remember that the chord underneath the slash is the temporary tonic. Practice writing these chords until you are comfortable with the process. These are the errors most often committed in question 5 and 6. Wrong chord members, failure to add accidentals, and failure to resolve the leading tone and or the 7th of a chord. A chord spelled incorrectly either by misspelling a chord or by leaving out an accidental is a costly error, losing up to 7 points. Question 6. So you are to write the following progression in the 4 voices, following 18th century voice leading procedures. Continue in the same fashion from the spacing of the first front, which is given to you, and use only quarter and half notes. Here you have 5 seconds. And here is a possible solution. So this example uses the fully diminished leading tone triad in first inversion, which requires 2 resolutions, T to do, G to A flat, and fa to mi, which is D flat to C. The first inversion 7th dominant of the dominant, the B flat D natural F to A flat, does not resolve to the dominant, but to a strong substitute for the dominant, the second inversion tonic. The second inversion tonic does not contain the pitch that A flat should resolve to G. Therefore, you must hold the A flat until it can resolve to the dominant 7th chord. This concludes with an authentic cadence with a 4-3 suspension over the tonic chord. Question 7. Complete the bass line for the melody below. Place the Roman numeral with an inversion symbol below the bass line to indicate the harmony implied by the soprano and the bass. Follow these guidelines. 1. Your bass line should make melodic sense in relation to the soprano. Give melodic interest to the bass line and vary the motion of the bass in relation to the soprano. Use note values ranging from half notes to eighth notes. 2. Your bass line and choice of chord symbols should make harmonic sense with the melody. Use appropriate cadences at each phrase ending. Use at least 2 chords per measure or 2 positions of the same chord. And 3, do not notate the alto and tenor lines. You can start right here, and it says that you should take like 20 minutes on this. I will give you 5 seconds. Pause and do however much you want. And here we have a possible solution. So composition of a bass line with Roman numerals is the most creative of all the free response questions. It is fairly easy to earn a high score, and it is a question that students make most careless errors than all the rest. Keep it simple. Do not add non-chord tones to the bass. Use root position chords as much as you can, especially at the cadence, 2 chords. Use contour motion. Write consonant counterpoints. Notice that the numbers between the voices in the solution equal the interval between the bass and the soprano. Don't write retrogradation. Write appropriate cadences. This is fairly simple harmonization of this melody, reusing a fragment of the progression from the first 2 given measures, the tonic to the first inversion dominant to the tonic progression. The second fermata has a melodic pattern, fa, fi, sol, so use the root position 5/5 or 5/7/5. This is a timed exam, so remember that you are not required to harmonize in quarter notes. Look for pitch patterns that can utilize the same harmony. The third fermata is harmonized with a half cadence. Recognize the relationship of the melody notes A to G sharp as a half step relationship, fa to mi, in the key of the dominant. And note that the melody can also be harmonized with the 5/7/5. This time in first inversion, putting the chromatic pattern in the bass. The final cadence harmonizes the familiar re ti do with the supertonic in first inversion to the dominant seventh to the tonic. Section 2, Part B. Sight singing. So directions. For each melody, sing the pitches in accurate pitch and rhythm using a steady, consistent tempo. For each melody, you will hear the starting pitch, and then I will give you 5 seconds, and you can pause that and take however much time you want. It says 75 seconds here, but you can practice longer or shorter. And then you will sing it out loud, and I will give it to you a little how it sounds like. Okay. So during your performance, you may sing solfege syllables, do, re, mi, scale degree numbers, 1, 2, 3, or neutral syllable, for example, ta, 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 or da, 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 la, 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 whatever, or note names, C, D, E. You may whistle if you prefer. Even though you will hear the starting pitch, you do not have to sing in that key. You may transpose the melody to a register that is comfortable for you. You should use all of the practice time to sing out loud. You may write on the music if you want to. You may not use any device such as a metronome or any musical instrument to help you in your practice or performance. You'll be evaluated on pitch accuracy relative to the opening tonic you choose, rhythm, and continuity, maintaining a steady tempo without hesitating or breaking the flow of the melody. You may start over if you need to, but there will be a deduction from your score. You are not evaluated on the quality of your singing voice. Here we have number 1. So look over the melody and begin practicing. I will give you the starting pitch right now. And let's listen to the entire thing. This example is in simple quadruple meter in C minor. It has elements of harmonic minor at the end of measure 2 and a melodic minor passage at measure 3. The last measure begins with an interval of a descending minor third, lay to fa, and ends with fa, me, re, do. Let's move on to question 2. So look at the melody and begin practicing. Here is the starting pitch. And let's listen to the entire thing. of this example is from high so D to low mi B natural. So the key to successfully singing is to find the tonal center do. So that allows you to go up to a fifth so, but also down a sixth to mi while staying in the comfortable singing range for you. You do not have to sing in the given key. Another helpful pointer is to recognize how many times you return to do. Use this to retain your pitch. Measure 2 contains an ascending scale-wise melody with a chromatic pattern so fi so into measure 3. You can expect to see chromatic pitches in side singing exercise 2. Measure 3 descends diatonically from high so to do, and then the pattern is familiar do so mi. With the last measure, the leap from fa up to re is a major sixth. However, instead of thinking about going from interval to interval, think about the patterns. The example of the familiar re ti do ending, so it goes from do so mi to re ti do with fa as the connector. Choose a tempo that will not rush you in compound meter. Take your time, but make sure you hold the last pitch to full value. And that is it. You did it! Yay! Great job. Awesome work. My throat is like tired from reading all of this out loud. So I am going to go take a break, and I suggest that you go give yourself a little treat of some part. Write in the comments how you did. And if you want me to include like a self-scoring guide, there's some information here that I haven't quite looked through because I'm like, oh, whatever. But I can do that as well if you want to learn how to see what kind of score you would get on the actual exam based on this. But yeah, thank you so much for staying with me through all of this. I know that only the people that are listening to this right now are listening to it. So thank you so much for listening to this right now and for going through all of this with me. There is another practice exercise and an appendix coming out soon. And yeah, that should be it. Thank you so much. I am very, very, very proud of you.